Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, I ain't even gonna lie. I'm disappointed I found this. One of the last rappers anyone would have thought would get exposed is now under investigation over snitching accusations. Louisiana legend BG, who was just released from federal prison less than 3 months ago, is now being accused of the unthinkable. Serving 11 of his 14-year sentence, BG has been a staple for gangster rappers holding it down and taking their time to the chin. Interviews with former inmates would describe the rapper walking tall in general population on some of the deadliest federal prison yards. So why all of a sudden is he now being exposed? To fully understand, we'll have to go all the way back to July 16th, 2009. It was 7:20 p.m. and the NOPD narcotics unit was on patrol when they observed a white Ford truck traveling at a high rate of speed through the Central City neighborhood of New Orleans. Disregarding a stop sign, detectives conducted a traffic stop, finding much more than they anticipated. They would notice the occupants of the truck were moving erratically inside. Asking them to step out of the vehicle, the driver would be identified as Christopher Dorsey and more commonly known as BG. The front passenger would be identified as Darian Blunt and the back passenger as Kentrell Washington. As Kentrell stepped out of the back of the truck,
Hold on. Is this the same case that he just came home from? Or am I tweaking? This is something different?
a detective could observe in plain view a plastic bag appearing to contain marijuana. The bag was partially covered by a t-shirt on the back passenger seat. Washington would be detained as the detective retrieved a large Ziploc bag containing 446 grams of marijuana. Stepping away from the truck, the detective then observed a black barrel protruding from underneath the driver's seat. Immediately upon seeing the officer retrieve the 9mm Beretta 92 FS, Kentrell Washington would state, "That gun and weed is mine." Washington, who's a convicted felon, was then arrested and taken to the 6th District Police Station for booking. He'd again inform NOPD officers, as well as a federal ATF agent named Special Agent Dorick, that the handgun was his and that he had in fact obtained the gun from his girlfriend Trina Jones, who brought him the gun from Houston to New Orleans a month prior. Agent Dorick took possession of the handgun and marijuana while taking custody of Washington and federally arresting him. In addition, both BG and Blunt would testify that BG was driving, Blunt was the front passenger, and Kentrell was in the back. BG and Blunt would testify they were unaware there was a firearm in the vehicle, and they would both confirm the firearm was Washington's, that Washington admitted to officers the firearm was his, and that he obtained the firearm from his girlfriend. Washington would be charged the following day on one count of being a felon in possession of a firearm. November 3rd, 2009. Only 3 months after Washington would be arrested, BG would find himself in the back seat of a Chevy Tahoe that was pulled over. Gerard Fedison, also known as Fetty, was driving with Damon Pollard in the front passenger. Officers observed the butt of a gun under the center console of the Tahoe before asking if there was any firearms in the vehicle. All 3 men said no. Removing the men, officers recovered a 9mm Ruger P89, a Stoger 40 cal, and an FN 57. All 3 guns were equipped with extended magazines. Further investigation would reveal the Chevy Tahoe they were riding in was stolen, and one of the firearms was also reported stolen. A New Orleans PD sergeant would arrive on scene when Pollard said, "The weapons are for us because they tried to jack my boy out of his jewelry," referring to BG. Pollard also stated the drugs in the car were his, as officers recovered pills inside of a Tylenol bottle. Officers spoke.
Smash them likes, y'all. Smash them likes. Hit 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 them likes. Hold on. Man, like I said, if y'all want to send y'all music in, send it to the email that's in the chat. Any kind of videos, music. If you want to skip If you want your song to be a skip, it's only $3. If you got like a long form video or some longer shit, you know what I mean, interview clip or some kind of clip or some whatever type video, it's $5. You can hit the Cash App, the Chime, the PayPal. You dig, at the top of the screen.
With Fetty, who stated he got the car earlier that day from a guy he knew as Charles. All three men would be placed under arrest. ATF agents would review phone calls made by Fetty in jail. The day after they were arrested, Fetty called his grandmother, who placed him on a three-way with his girlfriend. On the recorded jail call that issues a warning saying the call is recorded, Fetty would tell her he, BG, and Polar were at a daiquiri shop when they saw the police. Fetty said he forgot about the guns when he jumped in the truck, and when police got behind him, he closed the stash spot. Fetty said, "I keep a gun. I would rather be living than dead." He'd say he needs to talk to BG because the police report said BG threw a gun down, and he said BG's stupid for having a gun on him. The next day, Fetty would call his girlfriend telling her where he stashes guns in the truck and that Polar doesn't have any convictions. His girlfriend would tell him Polar could write a letter from jail saying the guns were his and that she could get the letter notarized. Fetty would then say he was going to get Polar to sign an affidavit. He'd then say, "You know ain't no fucking gun was for that dude," meaning that the guns actually belonged to BG and Fetty. He'd continue on saying plenty of things he shouldn't over a jail phone before speaking with BG, as the two expressed concern over the feds picking up the case. 2 days later, Fetty would call BG, who made bond and was released from the New Orleans Parish Prison. On November 9th, Fetty told BG to get Polar out of jail so Polar can sign the affidavit stating the guns were his. They believed if Polar took responsibility for the guns, then the charges against them would be dismissed, and because Polar had no prior convictions, the punishment would be less severe. Fetty would reassure BG, telling him he always gets affidavits signed, and as soon as it's signed, he'll be out of jail. Fetty would tell BG to put money on Polar's bond, then make Polar hustle for the rest. November 24th, 2009. Polar would sign the false affidavit stating Fetty and BG had no knowledge of the guns or drugs recovered from the vehicle.
Yo, is it just me or is niggas? Yo, I'm kind of tired of motherfucking this shit, bro. Like, I ain't sitting here defending, and I ain't really here to get no vibes of BG snitching yet. I don't. I'm just sick of this shit, yo. Like this, it's like a trend now. Shit getting annoying, bro. But actually, in actuality, if he didn't snitch or if he did, well, if he didn't snitch, this ain't nothing but promotion for BG. But it's still, I'm just getting fucking tired of this shit, bro. Like, not only because 1090J, because 1090J not the only nigga that do this shit. Damn, I need some tea.
But witnesses would testify that BG brought him to the location and was with him when he signed the document. Furthermore, a cooperating witness would testify that BG provided money to Fetty while he was in jail and assisted in getting Polar out of jail so Polar could sign the fake affidavit. As federal agents continued to investigate, they discovered 3 YouTube videos of BG filmed on the same day. During these videos, BG is with several associates out on the street talking about their lives. In the first video, BG would shout out several incarcerated friends. In the second video, Fetty would pull 2 firearms while BG pulls 1, and Polar can also be seen pulling a firearm.
Who that is? Problems we got this. That's Fetty when the 2 FAs. I got the dick on one. You know, I got this here one on one. This real life shit.
Oh my God, not the infamous YouTube video evidence. So you telling me this is throwback YouTube self-snitching? God damn it, BG. And look, did you hear him? He said, "I got the dick on my shit." So they've been saying Young Thug and I want the first to say the dick on the gun and all that. Pause. That shit. I don't agree with that shit anyway. But I'm just saying that's crazy. This is a throwback YouTube video, bro.
BG pulls 1, and Polar can also be seen pulling a firearm.
Who that is? problems. We got the social
That's fatty when you 2 FA like I got the dick on one. You know, I got this here with all
In the third video, BG, Fetty, and their group are still on the same corner when they start to rap about not cooperating with police and not snitching. Fetty then appears with a bandana over his face and 2 firearms, while BG can again be seen with a firearm. BG would be indicted by the feds in April of 2011 on 2 counts of felon in possession of a firearm. 1 count for the gun in the YouTube video, and another for the 3 guns in the vehicle.
What?
He'd also be hit with a 3rd count of tampering with the witness for getting Pollard to sign the fake affidavit. In August of 2012, BG would be sentenced to 168 months or 14 years in federal prison. Now, at no point within BG's sentencing transcripts would he receive any point reduction for cooperation, and at no point was there a 5K1 in his case showing cooperation. So when the actual case BG went to prison for, he never cooperated and received a hefty sentence. But BG isn't accused of actually snitching in the case he went to prison for. BG is accused of testifying in the first arrest. Back when Kentrell Washington took responsibility for the gun and the weed, saying they were his and he got the gun from his girlfriend, BG and the 3rd man would repeat exactly what Kentrell already told the officers. The wording used in the paperwork would state, in addition, both Dorsey and Darian Blunt would testify that Dorsey was driving, Blunt was in the front passenger seat, and Washington was in the back seat. Both individuals would testify that they were unaware there was a firearm in the vehicle, and they would both confirm that the firearm was Washington's, that Washington admitted to officers the firearm was his, and that he had obtained the firearm from his girlfriend. Many have become confused on the wording of this paragraph, specifically would testify. They compared this case to Gunner, in which Gunner received a plea deal and agreed to testify if called upon, but this isn't the same for BG. Kentrell Washington never went to trial, leading many to assume BG never testified, but they would also be wrong. Within Washington's preceding transcripts, specifically page 3, his public defender Jocelyn would state, "Now Mr. Washington was the one who was charged. I think the government could clear it up more, but I believe BG was given subpoenas to appear for the grand jury in connection with this proceeding. I do not know if he was actually called to testify, but I do believe he received 2 subpoenas to come to court." The U.S. Attorney or Federal Prosecutor Mr. Vitas would state, both passengers that were in the vehicle were put before the grand jury. This would confirm both BG and Darian Blunt went before a grand jury. Now, a grand jury is a private proceeding used to determine if enough evidence exists to bring charges against the suspect. With 16 to 23 grand jurors present, the prosecutor will introduce evidence or call on witnesses through subpoenas to testify. After all evidence and testimony has been heard, the grand jurors will decide whether or not to indict the suspect.
So basically, they both pinned the gun on dude and agree. What the hell? What the fuck?
In this case, BG and Darian would testify the gun belonged to Washington, and the grand jury would choose to indict Washington for being a felon in possession of a firearm. But this is where the case gets tricky. BG's very own state lawyer, Frank DeSalvo, would be representing Kentrell Washington in his Fed case. According to Washington, BG's lawyer promised he'd receive 1 to 2 years at most in prison. He'd plead guilty, then withdraw his guilty plea after learning he was actually facing 6.5 to 8 years. Firing his lawyer, Washington would point out how his lawyer was also BG's, and 4 months after Washington was arrested, BG would be arrested in another case where BG tried to pay someone to take the fall. It would seem Washington was finessed, promised by BG's lawyer he'd receive minimal time, and he was willing to take the rap for the gun. It would also seem Washington, BG, and Blunt all planned on Washington being the fall guy.
Right.
If we pay attention, when the officer recovered the gun, Washington immediately said the gun and weed were his while at the scene. Washington would be taken to the police station where he spoke with an ATF agent, saying his girlfriend brought the gun from Houston. BG and Blunt weren't with him when he spoke with the ATF, but BG and Blunt would repeat exactly what he said to the grand jury. With Washington realizing he was played and is facing more time than promised, he'd attempt to get new lawyers and claim the gun couldn't have been his because the barrel was showing under the front seat, meaning it must have been placed there by the driver, who was BG. But because BG and Blunt already testified against Washington, Washington found himself in a hole he couldn't dig himself out of. Now this case is crazy because it's two examples, right? In the first example, dude just immediately says it's mine. The gun's mine, the weed's mine. In the second case, the guy wouldn't admit that it was his, but BG and BG's homie would come up with an idea. Look, we're gonna bond him out and we're gonna give him money to sign off and say that the shit was his because he doesn't have any priors. He's gonna be the fall guy. And the guy actually does it. He signs the affidavit, but the police listened to the jail calls, they figured out the plot, and they hit BG with witness tampering. In the first case, that isn't how it went. In the first case, this guy admits, hey, this is mine, and within a month, BG and the other passenger was subpoenaed to a grand jury, testified in court, and said everything was Washington's. Now they repeated everything Washington said, which makes me think they most likely discussed this, whether it was in the car, whatever it was. Yo, bro, you're not from New Orleans, you from Houston. You're only gonna get 1 to 2 years. You'll be good. Just take the rap for this shit. We're gonna take care of you. Da da da. Dude's like, all right, bet. So he takes the charge. He's got BG's lawyer. Who do you think put that together? Most likely BG. He gets BG's lawyer. BG's lawyer's telling him, yeah, you're only gonna get 1 to 2. You'll be all right. BG goes up and testifies. And this is the thing. If they agreed dude was gonna be the fall guy and BG made a statement at the scene, hey, whose gun was it? He just said it was his gun. It's like you can almost go for that because dude is being the fall guy. But BG testifying in court, how many rappers do we know that have testified in court and it hasn't come with a label of being a snitch or a rat? BG actually testified in court saying it was dude. And what ended up happening is dude realized he got played, got lied to by BG's lawyer, fired the lawyer, tried to reverse the shit, and nah, this ain't mine, this couldn't have been mine. But BG and the other guy already testified against him. Those statements, along with him admitting to the shit, were used to secure the conviction. And dude ended up getting stuck with 6.5 years. So while you can say it's flawed that dude said he was down to be the fall guy and then try to reverse it back on BG, it's also flawed that they lined him up, lied about the amount of time that he could get, and then testified against him, which meant that there was no coming back. BG could have went inside of the grand jury and said, I don't know, I don't remember, I don't recall. But that would have left opportunity for the feds to take that charge and put it on BG. So by BG saying, Washington, 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 he saved himself from that case, and then 4 months later finds himself in the same situation. I'm just as surprised as y'all. I'm interested in hearing what y'all think. Do you think that this is snitching? If he had a fall guy and the fall guy is with it 100% and BG testifies and that's part of the plan, is that snitching because the fall guy changed his mind and now couldn't get out of the situation? Should BG have never testified? Is that against the code to testify even though motherfuckers is agreeing? Y'all let me know in the comment section. This shit bigger than me. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's what I'm gonna go with. It's 1090 Jake. I rock.
Uh, Yeah, I'm so sick of this fucking shit, bro. I'm just gonna be honest, bro. I'm not even giving no pass or nothing, bro. What up, Lee Jane? Rich House Reeks. Rich Rabbit, what's good, my boy? Happy holidays, broski. Yeah, I'm just like, even not even just 10. It's because it's 1090 Jake, but just like, I'm so over this shit, bro. The snitch hole thing, and I ain't even like, I ain't trying to rally for no snitching like that. I'm just like, you see, I got a real feeling about that one. Dang. Oh man. What y'all think? Is that snitching or not? I mean, why you like? Even if like it looked crazy. Even if they did come up with that plan and you got up there and testified, that's just man. I don't think he a snitch though, but that shit just looked crazy. I don't even know. That was just so much information, bro. Right. If this shit don't make you sell the streets, that's why I'm like, nigga. This shit is annoying, bro. Like, no bullshit. This shit is like, you know what's crazy though? This nigga 1090 Jake gonna hit 1 million subscribers off this shit. Where he at? I mean, he got 994 right now. This is complete bullshit, bro.